Weddings versus marriages. The chase, the truth, the consequences. My face, your screen, I have questions. So let's get into some real conversations and pull back the veil, pun fully intended, on weddings versus marriages. It's a hot topic and people get it mixed up so many times. So let's dive. So here's the question. Why do so many people chase the wedding but forget to prepare for the marriage? The wedding is a big thing. Every little girl dreams about this big wedding, but marriage is the thing they never talk about. Marriage is the thing that sort of gets left in the background. Why is that? It's the allure of the wedding. Start with the glitter, the romance, the Pinterest boards. Let's be honest, weddings are beautiful. They're beautiful. It's an emotional thing. It's a production. It's your day to shine. Okay, weddings are special. You've got the dress, you've got the venue, you've got the flowers, you've got the cake, you've got the dance floor, you've got the first dance prepared, you've got the Instagram-worthy pictures. Don't forget the neon sign that says "Forever begins here." Not knowing what it means. Cute, right? But somewhere between the cake tastings and the guest list and prepping for the first dance, something starts to shift. Something happens. The focus shifts from marriage and building a life with someone to putting on a show. So that's where it's dangerous. That's where it gets dangerous. So many people walk into a marriage having only prepared for the wedding, because planning a wedding is a big thing. I never planned mine. I was never really interested in the wedding as such. I was more, but it didn't work anyway. 2 years, not even. But most people walk into it preparing for the, very well prepared for the wedding. They know how to choreograph, how to choreograph the first dance, but not how to handle conflict. They know how to impress 200 guests, but not how to communicate with one person when bills are due and sparks are low. Okay. The reality of marriage. Now, let me tell you something. Marriage is not a one-day event. It's not white dresses and matching tuxedos and keeping your guests. It's not a performance. It's not a performance. Marriage is 3 a.m. fights and budgets and fertility issues and in-laws and growth and compromise. Compromise, big. It's also friendship, commitment, deep joy, shared goals, and building a life together slowly. It's a process. It's a long process, okay? A lot of people walk into marriage only prepared for the wedding, not for the marriage. I've seen through life that everyone wants to get married, okay? Marriage was never something that I always, when I was growing up, I knew I always wanted to be a mom, but I never had the dream of a life partner, of a wedding. That was not, I was just built different. That was not something that was important to me. Having children, that was important. That was very important to me. I wanted kids, but I never thought of, there's got to be a sperm donor somewhere. I never thought about that. But why do we chase weddings so much? What is the obsession? Okay, I think there's 3 main reasons for this. Culture, okay? Culture pressure. Weddings have become almost the rite of passage. It's society's expectation, especially for women, okay? That wedding is the ultimate milestone. It's almost, you've reached your goal, you got married, okay? If you by 30, not married yet, people start giving you the pity smile. You know, the look, if you want to meet, you know that smile. Maybe next time it's you, yeah. So culture is definitely an issue. Culture pressure, it's almost expected of us. I know when I grew up, it was expected of us to finish school, get married, have 2 children, and that's it. That's the end. The end. Okay, no. Second reason we chase marriage, I would say, is validation. Weddings offer public affirmation. It's a way of saying, look, someone chose me. Okay, there's a performance element to it, and for some, it's not about love. It's about status. It's about status. I know so many girls who the marriage is, they don't get married for love, partnership, none of that. It's a status thing. It's like you want to be proud to say this is your husband for the wrong reasons, for all the wrong reasons. This is a problem. Now let's talk about the consequences of chasing a wedding instead of building a marriage. Okay, this is where things get real. Emotional burnout is the first thing. You plan a wedding for 200 people, which costs you the price of a house, and this often gets a new couple into so much debt because you're spending money you don't have on things you don't need to impress people you don't even like. So you start your marriage road in so much debt, and you can plan that wedding and you can take those loans and do that thing, but you don't actually have the talk on how are we going to handle money for the next 50 years? What are our goals? Where are we going? You're going to say, oh, we're going to buy a house and we can have 6 kids and we can go on vacation every year. Reality. What are your goals? Do you have the same? Do you work with money the same, or do you have a reckless spender and a miser? And you put, you know what I mean. You got to be on the same page with this thing. I think the third biggest reason people chase marriage is the fear of being alone. Okay, now people always say, I love being by myself. I love being by myself. But nobody wants to be alone forever. Okay. Some people don't actually want marriage. They just don't want to be single. They don't want to be alone. So a wedding becomes a fast track to social acceptance and emotional security until it's not. Until it's not emotional security, it's emotional discomfort, emotional disputes, until it's just emotionally destructive because you did it for the wrong reasons. Now, divorce rates are extremely high, extremely. I started researching that and it was too depressing to even look at. So I just got that a daffy. A beautiful wedding does not protect you from an ugly marriage. Okay, a wedding is a one-day thing. Couples who focus more on the celebration than on the communication with each other often find themselves in trouble within the first few years. I mean, mine lasted not even 2 years, okay, because none of this was, before the wedding, it was party. We partied. Then we got married, then we had kids, then we got divorced. You know what I mean? Nothing was planned. There was no plan in place. There was no, what's your goals? What's my goals? So how are we going to do this? Is there an actual plan? Then there's disillusionment, okay? People are disillusioned by marriage and wedding because marriage is what they see in magazines, in movies, and it's beautiful and everybody's happy. You expect a fairy tale. Okay, this is not a sitcom. This is real. Okay, now you had your perfect wedding. You go home, you're in big debt, and you go to bed and you sleep, and you're sleeping next to a guy or a girl who can snore the dead awake. Okay, who doesn't replace the toilet roll, who leaves the toothpaste open, who doesn't know how to wash a cup, folds the towels the wrong way. Okay, and this is where the friction starts. So, yeah. Then there's identity loss. Okay, so many people chase the title of husband or wife because it's, by social standard, it puts you above the rest of your peers because you have the title. It gives them a sense of identity and completion almost. Okay, a title doesn't complete you. Okay, then they only to find themselves lost after the initial honeymoon phase. Then they don't know, well, what now? Now I have a husband or a wife, I'm Mrs. So-and-so, but what now? You know, there are roles to play in a wedding, in a marriage. There are roles to play. It's got to be a partnership. Please watch my my video on we are equal but not the same, because this is very important. This kind of lines up with this. I never thought about it before, but it actually lines up with this. You have to know where you fit in, what your part is. Okay. You see now, in a wedding, in a marriage, it's all about the bride. You're the most important thing. But when you go home and it's your marriage, you are not a little princess. You are expected to do certain things. Everybody has a role, okay? And I'm not saying one is, you equal. It's not a 50-50 partnership, it's 100-100. Okay, it's 100-100. If you both work and you both bring money, you both do the budget together, you cook together. My daughter's got the perfect example of what a marriage should be. They both work. They don't have, there's no misogyny or feminism anywhere in that marriage. She knows he cooks better, so he cooks. He knows she cleans better, so she cleans. They both work because they both want what they want. You know, they have a good understanding. They're equal, but not the same. Okay. If something heavy has to get picked up, she's not going to try and do it because she knows he's the stronger one. If his pants has to get sewed, he's not going to try and do it because he's going to screw it up. She's going to do it. You understand? They have their roles. They each have their roles. They make decisions together. But here's something that nobody wants to hear in today's life. And I'm old-fashioned like this because it's biblical. It's been like this since the beginning of time. Okay? Women are not less than men, but the man has to lead. Okay? The man has to lead. You cannot. So I believe, many are going to hate me for saying this, I believe a lot of marriages fail because the woman wants to lead. Okay, she wants to be the leader and tune him what to do. This is not on. He has to lead. Also because a lot of the men don't want the responsibility to lead. So it makes women lead. Me, I cannot be in a relationship or a marriage where I have to lead. He's got to lead. You got to lead, I'll follow. If I don't agree, we'll talk about it. And you understand. So remember, marriage is a lifetime thing. The wedding is a moment. It's one day. But marriage is a lifetime. So it's not just about saying yes. It's a process. It's a process. It's a long process, sometimes very painful process, but there's pain and there's joy. This is the process. It's like growing up. If you're dreaming about the wedding, that's okay. Dream big. But dream bigger about the marriage, because the marriage is coming home with you. The wedding stays there. It's on Instagram. It's in a photo album. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, very important, can I have a fair fight with this person? Now, most of us go into an argument with the purpose to win. You never go into an argument because you want to lose. You want to win. But in a marriage, you can't just go in like, I'm going to prove them wrong no matter what. Even if I'm wrong, they can admit they're wrong. Can't be like that. You have to compromise. You have to be able to see why they are, where they're coming from, why they're saying what they're saying. Can you have a fair fight with a person? Because we all fight dirty in the world out there, but at home you can't fight dirty because it's not about who's winning. Because if one loses, you both lose. Okay, so can you grow with this person? Another important question, can you grow with this person? Can you forgive this person if they disappoint you? Because here's a spoiler. People disappoint. And even if you marry, this is for both men and women, if you marry this perfect person and you've got them on a pedestal, never put someone on a pedestal. They're going to disappoint you at some point because they are human beings. Can you forgive them when they disappoint and understand that they are human and it's not the end of the world? Can you show up when it's inconvenient? Because marriage is not a convenient thing, okay? Wedding is convenient. You choose a good day, you check the weather out 6 months ahead, and right, it's going to be sunshine, no wind. That's convenience. But marriage, there's thunderstorms. Can you show up when it's inconvenient? If your partner needs you, are you there? Can you love them without conditions? Because the minute you start placing conditions, if you don't clean the house, I don't love you. If you don't bring enough money in, I can't love you. If you don't take me on vacation once a year, I cannot love you. Can you love them without conditions? Just that person, your other half. This is literally has to be your soul mate. Okay. The other half of you. If something's wrong with them, there's something wrong with you. If something's wrong with you, there's something wrong with them. This is how it's supposed to be. Very important questions to ask yourself before you say I do. Can I have a fair fight with this person? Can I grow with this person? Can I forgive them if they disappoint me? Can I show up when it's inconvenient? And can I love them without condition? Because if you can't answer yes to every single one of those, don't say I do. We live in a time where wedding is an obsession. Everybody wants the perfect wedding, but marriage is on the back burner. Marriage is an inconvenience. Stop chasing weddings. Build a life with someone. Choose your partner, not on who's going to look best on the Instagram pictures, who's going to be able to pay for the biggest wedding, but rather who's going to make the marriage work. Think 50 years. I always say, when you decide to get married, and this is something I never thought about when I got married, I never take that person and picture them 100 years old, walking with a walking stick, being in a wheelchair, wearing adult diapers, being bald and fat and wrinkly. Can you love them? Can you sleep next to them every day? Can you dedicate your life to them then, like you are now? And if the answer is not yes, then you shouldn't get married to that person. So we get married for the wrong reasons. Think nice about before you get married. Think 50 years ahead. There's so many apps that you can take nowadays. You can take a picture of him and say, oh, how's he going to look when he's old? And you're going to say, oh, yeah, he or she is going to look like that. Am I going to be able to live with that? Am I going to love that? If he touches me, am I going to cringe, or am I going to be happy? Or am I going to be able to be playful when we're both in wheelchairs wearing diapers? If not, walk away. You see, that right there, those few things, is what makes a marriage. Okay, not the dress, not the tuxedo, not the party, not impressing the guests, not the pictures on Instagram. The daily decision to love, even when it's hard. Because no matter how much you love someone, sometimes it's hard to love them. Sometimes it's hard because they do things that you're like, oh my, did I sign up for this? Yes, you did. You did. When you said I do, you did. So that it's hard. That's what makes a marriage. Just choosing, making the decision to keep on loving that person, even when you disagree. Okay. So whether you're single or dating, engaged, or 20 years in already, I hope this kind of reminded you not to chase the wedding, but to chase the marriage. Not to chase the feeling, the quick butterflies, but to chase the long-lasting end goal, okay? Not the wedding, the marriage. Chase the marriage. If you're already married, maybe it's time you put some of that wedding level effort and enthusiasm into your marriage. Remember why you got married. Because people get bored with each other, and this is something you need to know when you get married. There's going to be a point where it's not exciting to see them naked anymore. You've seen them naked so many times. Okay. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that's not where you go look for a side chick. That's where you get back to basics. Okay. So yes, that's it for today. I hope this was handy and somebody learned something from it. Until next time, love smart, grow slow, and don't plan a wedding. Build a life.